Hi everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial on how to use the email broadcast system. My name is Blaine Horner, and I'm a Senior Regional Activities Specialist here at the Society of Petroleum Engineers. This is the first video in a series of 4. In this video, I will be covering how to use the system to send an email to a single distribution list. In the other videos listed below, I will be covering how to send an email using the provided DL templated content, how to send a scheduled email to new members or to recent graduated students, and finally, how to send one email to multiple distribution lists. My contact information is below should you have any additional questions. And with that, let's get started. To access the email broadcast system, visit the SPE Officer Resource Center on SPE.org and click Email Your Members. Log in with your SPE credentials, the same as you would for if you were renewing your membership. Please note that only listed section officers on file with SPE will have access to the system. For this tutorial, I'll be using the Vancouver section account. My screen may look different than yours as I am an administrator. When you're on the homepage for the system, you will see 3 sections listing different emails: recently sent mailings, recently edited mailings, and emails that are scheduled to be sent. Today we'll be creating a brand new email. To create a new email, click on the envelope and select Create. The first part is the setup phase. This is where we will input and select much of the key information for the email. The name of the email is only for internal purposes, so we will title this email Renewal Reminder, and we will keep it in the main folder. You can create a new folder by clicking here. Next, we're going to be selecting a template for the email. For this email, as it will not contain a lot of information, we're going to be using a basic email structure, which is just one continuous column. Click on the Edit button to select the distribution list and select Target Group for all mailing. Using the drop-down menu, select Personify 360 MKT and then select Members No Students. There are a number of different email lists for you to use. Below I have included a link that outlines which members are in each of the lists. And we will have tutorials that cover all of the lists more specifically, such as recent graduates unpaid and new members from previous month. To input the distribution list, click Update. The From and Reply To should have auto-populated when you selected the template earlier. This is already preloaded for you and should not be changed, as the consistency in the From email address is required for deliverability, especially if someone has marked you as a safe sender. Your email template should already be preloaded with a spemail.org email address. Please do not use Gmail or other third-party services, as this will affect the deliverability of your email. If you need to know the password for your spemail.org account or need to have one created, please use the contact information below, and we will set one up for you. Next, we'll move on to creating a subject line. This is some of the first content that your members will see when they receive your emails. Click the Edit button to begin. The system will automatically count the subject line characters and tell you if it may be effective for mobile or desktop systems. For this email, we will be personalizing the subject line to include the member's first name. To do this, click on the icon on the right-hand side. Select Informz for Personify 360. There are a few different options listed, and for this email, we will use their first name. It is important to remember that the subject line must captivate the member and encourage them to open the email. To make the subject line more captivating, I will include an emoji. Once you like everything that you see here, click the Save button before advancing to the next stage. Moving into the design phase, you'll now see the email template that we've previously selected. As I mentioned, it is a single column, as you can see here. To start creating an email, click Create Story. You will see there's a similar ribbon to what you find in Microsoft Word. In the ribbon, you can select all the different formatting tools. I encourage you to explore all of these on your own time, and for the purpose of this video, I will only be focusing on a few of them. I've already prepared an email in Microsoft Word, which I'm going to copy and paste into this window. The text copies over quite nicely, but you will see that if we click Save and go back to the main window, the font does not look the same, so we'll need to change that. Now that we have our email content, I'm going to change a few sections here using the options provided in the ribbon. We are going to personalize the email as we did with the subject line earlier. For this email, as we want the member to feel some sense of urgency in the message, we are going to address the member directly by using their first name as the opening message. Click on the icon, select Informz for Personify 360, and then click on first name. You'll see that we have added some code into the email for the first name, and this will automatically change when we click send later. The next thing we need to do is insert an image. There's a picture icon here which will allow us to do that. Click on the image icon to get started. Then click on the folder on the right-hand side to upload your image into the Asset Manager and to access previously uploaded materials. Here you will see everything in the Asset Manager and the option to create a folder and to upload new content. We recommend that you create folders based around themes so that it is organized for current and future officers. Click to upload and hit X just like you would suspect. Please note that not all image types are supported and you may need to change your image to a JPEG type file. When you upload a new image, it will automatically be selected even though you may not see it on your screen. Click the Insert button to move to the next phase. You will now see that your image has a URL associated with it and the dimensions of your image. I would recommend that you keep your image under 600 pixels wide, otherwise it may be too wide for the email. To change the dimensions, click on the image and then click on the image icon again. To center the image in your email, it is a little tricky. Select the image and then click your left arrow key on your keyboard to move one space back. Your cursor is now in front of the image. Now, click the center formatting option on the ribbon. Please don't ask me why this is the case. It's really silly and I wish I could fix it. To make a line of text or an image into a hyperlink, you can click on the chain icon here. We are going to complete 3 different types of hyperlinks today, and we are going to start with this segment of text. As you will see, there are some different hyperlink options for you. You can direct your members to a website, a document, or even to create a new email. You can now select different types of links that you would like. We're going to start with a website. Simply paste or type in the URL into the cell provided. And if you would like, you can label the link. If you're sending an email that has multiple links, you should definitely label them using this field. This is really important because if you need to fix a link in an email, having it labeled will allow you to find it faster. I'm also going to hyperlink this image to the same website so that members can click on the image as well as the text. You will see that I have also hyperlinked the image with the same URL as I did with the text section. This is why it is important to label, because if I want to change the hyperlink on the image, I now know which link to change. And for the last part, I'm going to hyperlink this email address. This is really important if you're going to be creating a call to action for a member to contact someone outside of your section. Simply input the email address and you can also input the subject line. Once you have your email looking the way that you'd like it to, click on the Email to Me button to receive a copy of your email. This email may go to your junk folder, so please be sure to check that folder and mark the email as not junk. When you receive the test email, be sure to look at it on your mobile phone. This is really important, especially if you're going to be using an image. You may have to edit the email a few times to make sure everything is to your liking. There is the option for more wider testing of an email if you choose. This is best if you're working with a committee of people and you would like to have wider feedback. But if you're working on your own, it is faster to use the Email to Me button in the design phase. For this tutorial, I'll be covering the Send Test button. In the send phase, there are multiple options for you. The most effective option is simply to select email based on profile of recipient. As the email we're working on is only to paid members, it'll only send one story. I will cover more detailed testing in another video that contains more information about story level sending, which are more advanced. The link to this video should be below. To input the list of recipients for the test email, simply copy and paste them in or type them. Once you're ready to go, click the Send button and all individuals will receive a copy of the email. When you have completed all of the testing, move into the send phase. There are a few sending options for you, but before we go over the sending options, we will confirm all the other information. Check the email heading information to ensure that everything is correct, and make sure that your target group is also correct. Be sure to pay close attention to this, as you don't want to send the email to the wrong group of people. Now that we're ready to send and we verified that everything is correct, you can either click Send Mailing Now or Schedule Mailing. When you click Send the Mailing Now, it doesn't send right away. You'll click the button and then you'll need to confirm that you indeed want to send it now, and it'll be sent to all recipients. Easy. You can also use the Schedule Mailing option. This will allow you to send the email at a later date or even onto a recurring schedule. This is a great option, especially if you're busy and you do not want to log back into the system to email out a reminder. There are a few scheduling options available to you, but before we do that, click on your name in the upper right-hand corner and select Preferences, and make sure that you have the correct time zone set. You may need to change this, as the default setting is for Eastern Time. The first option in scheduling your mailing is once, and this will send it one time in the future. For example, 9 a.m. this coming Tuesday. Next is weekly or daily. If you want to send this email multiple times, this is the option to select. This is great for unpaid members or weekly reminders. Select the day you want to send, and then the time that you'd like to send it out. Next, select an end date for the email. We'll select a date that is 6 weeks out from now, so that members will only receive this reminder 6 times. We also have a monthly sending option, which is a great option for unpaid members and recent graduates, especially if you want to gently remind them to renew, but do not want to send out an email every week. After we have selected the sending option, we now have delivery methods. There are only 2 options that we will cover, standard and optimized. Standard delivery method is easy to explain, simply that all members will receive the email at the same time. Optimized is more complicated. The system will use historical data about each of the individuals receiving the email. Based on when they have opened previous emails in the past, the system will calculate the most appropriate time to send the email for that individual recipient. For example, if you always send an email at 8 a.m., but the member consistently opens the email at noon, the system will wait to send the email until just before noon. This way, the email will be at the top of their inbox when they are typically looking for the email to open. Optimized works great if you have a newsletter that gets sent out on a weekly basis. However, if you have an event with limited space or have a time-sensitive announcement, it would be best to use the standard delivery method. Once you have determined the delivery method of your choice, click Schedule. The email will be sent out at the time and date selected, and you can log out of the system. If you need to amend a scheduled mailing, click on the Scheduled Mail portion of the homepage, or click on the envelope and then click View and select the Scheduled tab in the mailing archive. And that's how you send an email using the email broadcast system. One thing that I did want to touch on that I mentioned earlier was the emergency link change. Say that you've sent out an email that has an incorrect hyperlink. You can easily go back into the system by clicking on the Mail folder on the left-hand side and click View. Select the Sent Mailing option, and it'll take you to all of your mailings. On the top of the icon, you'll see the last email that was sent, and then click on the hamburger menu, and finally, Emergency Link Change. From here, you'll be able to update all of your links and make sure that they're correct. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial today. We hope that you learned a lot. This is the second video of 4, so if you have not watched the first video, please go back and give it a watch. Today we're going to be sending out emails on a scheduled basis that are specific for your new members or for recent graduates. So I hope you enjoy the video and that you follow along. If you have any questions, our contact information is below. Before I get started on the video today, I'm going to take a moment to talk about the benefits of a recurring email. For our soon-to-be graduates, a recurring email is a great way to recognize and congratulate your student members. You'll also be able to provide them with relevant information about the next stage in their membership, such as which section they'll be joining. You'll also make them aware that their professional membership is free for the first year and that it is currently available to them if they visit the SPE website. For our new members, this is an excellent way to welcome them to your section or chapter, introduce them to the board or your section activities, and to create awareness of your programs and technical activities, which can boost your attendance to events. And with that, let's get started. If you have not already, please watch video 1 in this series, as I'm going to speed through the first part of this video. To access the email broadcast system, please visit the SPE Section or Chapter Resource Center and click on Email Broadcast System. Once you've signed in, we've arrived. As I mentioned, this tutorial will focus on how to schedule a recurring email for recent graduates or for new members. Because of this, I'm going to be using a student chapter account to facilitate the tutorial, as they will have the specific distribution list for member graduating next month. And they tend to have more new members than most sections. Please note that the functionality of the system is the same in a section account. To create a new email, click on the mail icon on the left-hand side. Slide over to Create, and we've entered the design phase. Starting from the top in the Properties section, we're going to title the email Graduating Soon Recurring, or you can title it Welcome Email Recurring if that is what you're working on. I'm also going to create a new folder for these messages because over the course of a year, they will accumulate and clutter the main folder. Click on the folder icon on the right-hand side and title the folder whatever makes sense to you. For the template selection, I'm going to select Basic Email, as the email will not contain a lot of information. Moving into the envelope phase, we're going to populate the distribution list. Click on the Edit button here next to the To phase. Select the target group for the entire mailing, folder Personalize 360 MKT list, target students graduating next month, or new members. This distribution list contains all those students who have their listed graduated date on their membership profile at some point in the next 30 days. In the new member's previous month, that's exactly what it means. They've joined your chapter or section in the last month. Both of these distribution lists are automatically updated on the 2nd of each month. Your From and Reply To should have already been auto-populated when you selected the template. Please do not change these as they need to be consistent, otherwise spam filters will flag the email. For both new members and for new graduates, these are both celebrations. So I'm going to title the email Congratulations on Recently Graduating. And for our new members, welcome to our section, Learn More About Our Programming. You'll note that I have not used any exclamation marks, as this can trigger spam filters. Click Save, and let's move to the design phase. You can see here in the design phase, this email has a different look than many of the section templates. If you would like a template similar to this one, please contact us and we will be happy to create one for your section. Click on Create Story to get started. I'm going to start off with a personalization. Click on the 2-person icon here in the ribbon. Choose Informz Personalize 360 list. Select first name, or you can also include the last name if you'd like. I've already prepared the email in a Word document, which I'll paste in. I've also linked this document below so that you can see what was written. For your Graduating Soon email, please be sure to include a statement that directs members to update their profile if they are not graduating in the next month. Many members will take a semester longer but forget to update their membership profile. For a new member email, please be sure to recognize them and make them feel welcome. Write the email in a very personal manner and be sure to tell them about your events scheduled or any major events that happen in your calendar year. Invite them to follow you on social media and encourage them to reach out to your section with any questions they may have. If your email needs any edits after pasting it in from the Word document, use the tools in the ribbon to help you. It has most everything a Word document does, and then click Save. Make sure that everything looks normal on this page, and you can edit by clicking the Edit button here. Once you're happy with how it is looking, click on the Email to Me and send it to yourself. Be sure to look at the email on multiple devices if possible, at the very least your computer and a mobile phone. If you would like to know more about the Testing tab located here, please check out Tutorial 1 in this series. When you're ready, let's move to the Send phase. Here's where we can schedule the email to go out on a recurring schedule. This way, when a new member joins your section or chapter, or when you have a student that is graduating, they will be recognized and provided with important information. Click on the Schedule Mailing icon to open up the options. We have a few different topics here, but we're going to select the monthly option or the weekly option for students graduating next month. For our new members, I'm going to select monthly on the 3rd of each month. I'm then going to leave the end date blank so that it will continue sending for the rest of the year. Don't worry, you can modify and change this at any time. I would suggest sending this out for a few months and then come back and review how everything is going. For our soon-to-be graduating students, I'm going to select weekly on Tuesdays at 8 a.m. And again, leave the set end date as blank so that it will send for the rest of time. As I mentioned earlier, don't worry, you can cancel this. For our students graduating next month, if you schedule it out weekly, they will receive a maximum of 4 emails, as the distribution list will be updated every month. Some months may have no new members added to the distribution list, which is totally fine. The email will automatically send to nobody. Once you're happy with the scheduled dates you've selected, click the Yes Schedule Mailing button at the bottom. And with that, you've scheduled your email. Click the upper left-hand corner to return to the main page. Once you have scheduled your email to go out, if you need to make any changes, you can either click on the email scheduled here at the bottom, or click on the mail icon and view to access your backend folders. If it does not appear in the list, on the right-hand side, select the folder drop-down option and ensure that you're in the correct folder. As it is a scheduled email, it will be underneath the Scheduled tab. To cancel, simply click on the hamburger menu here and click on Stop Sending. It will automatically be sent to your In Progress or Draft section. You can now go into the email and make any edits that you would like, including modifying the scheduled delivery dates. Recurring messages are an extremely powerful tool in the recognition of our members. We're excited to see what sort of messages you will come up with for new members and for members who are graduating soon. The examples that I have used are linked below. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial today. We hope that you learned a lot. If you have any specific questions, please use the contact information below to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Hey everyone, thanks for coming to another tutorial on how to use the email broadcast system. Today we're going to be covering how to send an email using the Distinguished Lecturer templates that are preloaded in your systems. If you haven't watched the first video in this series, please go back and watch that one, as I will be moving through the initial setup phase really quickly. So I hope you enjoy the tutorial today. If you have any questions or need some follow-up, our contact information is below. Before I get started on today's video, I'm going to take a moment to discuss the benefits of using these templates. They are preloaded into the system for you to match the distinguished lecturers your section has been assigned. We have also included the lecturer's image and information about their presentation, and I'm really excited to share these with you. Using these templates will save you time and energy when it comes to promoting your distinguished lecturers. As I have mentioned, this tutorial will be focusing on the Distinguished Lecturer templates, so I will be using a section account to facilitate it. The Distinguished Lecturer program is a membership benefit specifically for professional members, so the templates are not available to student chapters. To create a new email, click on the mail icon here on the left. Slide over to Create, and we've entered the design phase. Starting at the top in the Properties section, I'm going to name this email Distinguished Lecturer Email 1, but you can title it whatever you would like. If your section is using folders, you can select it here or create a new one. When using the DL template, the basic email works best, as the email will not contain much information. In the envelope phase, we're going to populate the distribution list by clicking the Edit button here. Select Target Group for entire mailing, Folders Personify 360 MKT list, and for your target group, this is up to you. You can either select members or members and students. If you're going to be including students in any virtual DL visits, please ensure that your student chapters are listed under additional groups when filing your DL forms. All distribution lists are updated regularly and will include any new members who may have recently joined your section. Click Update to move to the next stage. Your From and Reply To should have already been auto-populated when you selected the template. Please do not change these as they need to be consistent, otherwise spam filters will flag the email. When you are creating a subject line, it is important to remember that this will be the first thing that a member will see. You'll want to make sure that it grabs their attention and entices them to open the email. Try to find something that is interesting about the title or the topic of the DL. As an example, I will put DL Talk Carbon Capture in North America. Click Save, And let's move to the design phase. When you're in the design phase, click here to start a story. These top 3 rows here are the ribbon. On the bottom row of the ribbon, you'll see some icons. These icons include the personalization features, as well as the story layouts, which is located here. Once clicking it, it'll pop up and the default all folder will be selected, which is great. Click on the second drop-down menu and scroll down just a little bit, and you'll soon see the names of all your distinguished lecturers. Click on the presenter that is coming next to your section and click Insert. You'll now see that all the basic information about your DL has been auto-populated into the story. Included in the story, you'll see that we have personalized the message for each of your members with their first name, as well as a welcome and an introduction about the DL program. We have also highlighted in red text the areas that you will need to update for your specific DL. With virtual DLs, there is not much to update with using these templates, so I'll just quickly type in the information. I'm completing these tutorials in April of 2021, so all of the templates are geared towards virtual DL presentations. But as we move into the future, we hope to be back to in-person DLs as soon as possible, so those templates will include placeholders for a location, venue, and another placeholder for inputting your own information on how a member can register. You'll see that we have included an image, which you can remove or make smaller if you would like. Think of the template as a baseline recommendation. You're not required to follow it. You can modify it any way that suits you or your section. Once you're happy with how everything looks, click Save and exit back to the main screen. Make sure that everything looks normal on this page and click Edit should you need to make any changes. Once you're happy with how that looks, click on the email to me and send it to yourself. Be sure to look at the email on multiple devices if possible, at the very least, your computer and a mobile phone. If you would like to know more about the testing tab, please check out video 1 in this tutorial series. When you're ready, let's move to the send phase. Make sure that all the information is correct and double check everything has been inputted correctly. If there are any errors, go back to the setup phase and then update this information. For this DL talk, I'm going to send it out using a different method. I'm going to schedule the email to be sent tomorrow at noon, but I'm going to use the optimized sending method. If you remember from tutorial 1, optimization will use historical data about the individual receiving the email. Based on when they have opened emails in the past, it will calculate the most appropriate time to send the email to that individual person. For example, if you always send an email at 8 a.m., but the member consistently opens the email at noon, the system will wait and send the email just before noon, so that member will have it at the top of their inbox. At first, you may notice that the optimization will send the bulk of the emails in the first wave, and only hold onto a few for later distribution. After you have used the system for a few months and sent 10 to 15 emails, you will start to see the system adapt its behavior in the optimization fields. When you're ready, click Yes to scheduled mailing, and it'll be ready to go. If you don't want to schedule the email, you always have the option to send now. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial today. We hope that you learned a lot. If you have any specific questions, please use the contact information below to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again. Hey everyone, welcome back to the last tutorial in this video series. Today we will be covering how to send one email to multiple distribution lists. If you have not watched video 1, please go back and give it a look. My contact information is below should you have any specific questions. And with that, let's get started. Before I get started on how we can build an email to send to multiple distribution lists, I would like to talk about the benefits of doing this. It's less work for you, there's fewer emails for our members, we can create highly personalized content, especially for our young professionals and students, and we can engage unpaid or yet-to-renew professionals and recent graduates who are unpaid. Before I get started today, we need to talk about a new term I'll be using a lot of: story. We all know what a story is. It's a fictional narrative shorter than a novel, or in the case of marketing, it is a news article or broadcast. Within the SPE email broadcast system, when you populate information into the mail system, you are inputting a story. These stories that you input into the broadcast system can be directed to different distribution lists during the send phase. To help me explain this further, I'm going to use a visual aid. I have printed off 4 different pieces of paper. Each of these has a story on them that I have written. I have a story for each target audience of paid members, unpaid members, young professionals, and recent graduates unpaid. To get these stories to our members, I'm going to send them by airmail by using a paper airplane. So I now have these 4 paper airplanes in front of me, and each one of them represents a different distribution list and a different story. We have paid, unpaid, YPs, and recent graduates unpaid. For me to send them, I could throw each of the airplanes one at a time, but that's a lot of effort, and I've injured my shoulder. I do not want to send more emails or airplanes than I absolutely have to. In order to send these stories, we're going to stack them one on top of the other. On the base, we have paid members, then unpaid members, young professionals, and finally our recent graduates unpaid. They are all packaged together into one condensed system, and we're ready to send them out. You'll see that as soon as I threw the airplanes, they were automatically separated into individual planes and all had different destinations. This is the same logic behind story-level emails within the email broadcast system. In one throw, you can send out 4 airplanes that contain different stories for each distribution list. And with that, let's get started on building out a story-level email. Log into the system by visiting your section or chapter resource center, log in with your SPE credentials, click on the envelope, Create Mailing. For this tutorial, I'm going to be doing 2 different types of story level, one very easy and simple version, and later on a more complex version. To start, I'll make a quick Distinguished Lecturer email. For the name of this email, I will title it June DL Talk. For the template, let's choose Basic again. If you would like a tutorial about the newsletter template, let us know. In the envelope phase, this is where things will change from previous videos, and it is the first step in sending out a single email to multiple distribution lists. Here, in the To, click the Edit to populate the field. This time, we will select Specify the target group for each story. The From and Reply To have already been populated. Please do not change these as they need to remain consistent to help with deliverability of your email. For the subject line, we'll just simply add in June Distinguished Lecturer Register Today. Next, we'll move into the design phase and start creating the story. Click on Create Story, and you'll notice something different. There's a distribution input option. As with previous tutorials, select the folder Personify 360 MKT, and then the target Members and Students. With this set, whatever we input into this story will be sent to only members and students. We will populate the story again with one of the DL templates and modify the necessary information, and then click Save. Now we have a great email for our members and students, but let's create a message for our unpaid members. Hover over the right-hand corner of the story and click Copy. You'll see that the system has added an additional story at the bottom of the email. Click on the Edit button to modify the distribution list and its contents. Click here on Target and scroll down to Unpaid Members. When sending out messages to unpaid members, it's really important to include a call to action for them to renew their membership. So we'll add in, your current membership is expired, please visit the SPE website to renew your membership or contact SPE customer service to take advantage of the dues waiver program. We will then hyperlink the website and hyperlink the customer service email, populating the subject line to specify dues waiver program. Now we have a simple story-level email to send to paid and unpaid members. To visually show you how the emails will look when they are sent, let's go to the test phase. In the test phase, click on Send Test to expand the field. For the email format, click on HTML, and for the email test type, email all versions of this mailing. This will show you all the different types of emails that will be sent. Your email address should already be preloaded, and you can also add additional emails if you'd like, and then click Send. Moving over to our inbox, you'll see that we have received 3 different versions of this email. In the subject line, there is some important information. The first one indicates 3 stories to 5 subscribers. These 5 subscribers would be your regional director and 4 SPE staff members. The next one, we have 2 stories to 52 subscribers. This would be our paid members. And the next one is 1 story to 17 subscribers. This would be our unpaid members. So let's check them out. In the first email that contains 5 subscribers, this would be what the RD and the staff will receive. Next, we'll move into the message for paid members. You'll notice that there is not a call to action for them to renew their membership. And for some reason, I've added in a second story where I've just put in test. I'll have to remove that when I go back into the edit phase. And finally, we'll move through to the unpaid email. You'll notice that this one contains the call to action for unpaid members to renew. This is how you can send a story level email to multiple distribution lists, saving you time and energy, as well as the inboxes of our members. From here, you can go back into the email and click send for it to be distributed to all of your members. So that concludes part 1 of tutorial 4, where I send out a very simple email to only 2 distribution lists. I will now move on to creating a more complex email where I continue to use the story level functionality to a greater degree. I will be using a Gif to target recent unpaid graduates and custom subject lines for each of the different groups. Going back into the setup phase, we are now going to start a monthly newsletter. As we did previously, in the to phase, we will select specify the target group for each story. And as always, the from and reply to have been already populated. Please do not change these as they need to remain consistent for deliverability of your email. For the subject line, this is where we can start to personalize the email for your different distribution lists. Click the edit button to get started. First, we will input for our largest target group, which is paid members and students. Let's input Exciting Technical Events section newsletter. Next, we're going to click on Targeted Subject and click the checkbox. You'll see that we can add in additional subject lines and specify the target group. For the first group, let's select Young Professionals and click the Edit button. The YP committee has an SPE Cares program that they would like to advertise, so we'll put their subject line as Saturday Beach Cleanup section newsletter. Okay, great, let's add in one more. Click on Add Target Subject Line again, select the group for unpaid members, and we'll modify the subject line specifically for them. We're going to make the subject Exciting Technical Events Renew Your Membership. And we'll add in another subject line specifically for our students, where we will be telling them about the scholarship opportunity that awaits for them. Let's make this subject line Scholarship Applications Now Open, section newsletter. Continuing on, we also have recent graduates unpaid. So we're going to remind them that they have a free membership waiting for them. So their subject line will be Your SPE Membership is Waiting, section newsletter. And our final targeted subject line will be sent for new members from the previous month. We'll make it Welcome to our section, check out our programs, section newsletter. I cannot think of any additional subject lines that need to be added. Click Save for your changes, and then we'll move into the design phase. This screen should look very familiar to everyone. So click on the story, and we'll input the distribution list as paid members and students. We're going to create a title for this email, so we'll call it Section Newsletter May 2021, and then click Save. Next, we're going to create a new story, and we're going to target this one to the unpaid members. And we'll type out the same phrase, Section Newsletter May 2021, and then save. Now that we have the titles for the email out of the way, we can go on to creating content. Create a new story, target members and students. And just a quick reminder, the members distribution list includes young professionals, new members from the previous month, and recent graduates. When we also include members and students, this adds in the additional student members. With this in mind, because this story will be sent to the largest audience, it should have the most information about your activities within it. I've borrowed some content from a local section, so I will copy and paste that here. As you can see, I have titled this section Technical Activities, and then we'll click Save to update. Next, we're going to input a story about the beach cleanup for the young professionals. So we'll create story, target the group to young professionals. I have already created this content in Word, and you'll see that I have titled it Young Professional Activities. We'll then click Save and go back out to the design phase. You'll notice that the YP story is at the bottom of the email, which is not ideal because young professionals are also paid members, so they will see the content in the above story before the beach cleanup. To make sure that the YPs see the beach cleanup story, we can drag it above technical activities. Now this is the first thing that YPs will see when they open the email. This is another added benefit of the story level sending. You can customize the layout of each email for each distribution list. Next, we'll need to inform the students about the scholarship applications opening. We'll quickly create that story, paste in the information for the student scholarship application, insert an Apply Now button, and save. If you're sending your technical activity information to your students, we'll drag this story above them so that the order is correct. So now that we have finished with all of our paid members, let's move on to our unpaid members. Using the technical activity story for paid members as a template, we'll click Copy and create a new story. You'll now see that we have two stories outlining the technical activities, and we'll click Edit on the second one and change the targeted group to unpaid members, and then we'll click Save. Unpaid members will need to have a reminder that their membership is currently expired. So we'll insert a call to action in another story and place it above the technical activities. We're going to personalize the message specifically for the individual. To input the personalization, a quick refresh from tutorial 1. Click on the personalization, Informz for Personify 360, first name, insert. This coding here will change to the person's first name when the email is sent. I have already typed out a message, so I'll quickly input the hyperlinks. We'll hyperlink the Please Visit SPE website to renew. Next, we'll highlight the section that says Email SPE Customer Service. Click on the hyperlink icon, click on the email option, and then we'll input the customer service email and input the subject line to outline the dues waiver program. So we're all finished here, and we'll go back to the design phase. We'll drag this story above the technical events for our unpaid members. So now we have a call to action for our unpaid members and information about technical activities. Next, we'll create a story specifically for recent graduates unpaid, as we have different information for them from a regular unpaid member. Click on a new story and specify the target as recent graduates unpaid. Remember that recent graduates unpaid are also included in the unpaid distribution list. This means that they will see the call to action that we have just created. So we will continue on the messaging from the previous story. I'll insert a hyperlink for the recent graduates website on the SPE page. And then to make it more engaging, I will insert a GIF. Yes, you can insert GIFs into Informz emails. I've already created a custom GIF specifically for this message, and I've linked a folder below so that you can download it. In the future, I hope to create more videos where I can cover how to make custom GIFs and other images. Now, if you remember from tutorial 1, to center the image, we will need to click on the image, then click the back arrow on our keyboard to move our cursor to the front, and now we can center the image. It's also best that you hyperlink this image as well. Click Save, and we'll move back to the design phase. Okay, so let's go over what we've done already. We have the newsletter titles at the very top of the email. One is for paid members and students, and one is for unpaid members. We have the scholarship information for the students at the top, followed by young professional events, and then the paid member technical activities. Then we have the unpaid members call to action to renew, recent graduate unpaid information, and finally technical activities for unpaid members. The last and final message we will need to create is for new members from the previous month. For this message, we are welcoming them to our section, so we will personalize it with their first name. I have already typed out a message which I'll paste here. This is a great spot to put in additional information about programs or opportunities that you have for new members. For example, if you have a program where a new member receives 1 complimentary admission to a technical activity, this is where you should put it. And to make it more personal, I'll finish it off with a formal closing. Click Save to update. We will want the new members to see this first, and as new members, they are also paid members. We'll need to place this at the very top of the email. With all of these stories input, the email looks really crazy, but have no fear, we can test to make sure they are distributed the way that we would like. To test the emails, click on the Test tab. Then click on the Send Test button to expand the field, and then we're going to select HTML only, and then select all versions of this mailing. By default, your email address you have logged in with is already populated, and you can add additional emails if you would like. When you're ready, click Send. It may take a minute or two for the emails to show up in your inbox, but they will come. Okay, that's a lot of test messages. Let's work through some of these. The subject line of the email will tell you how many stories are in the email and the number of people who will receive the email. Some of the emails will have a very low number of individuals specified. This is because SPE staff and your regional director are included on multiple distribution lists. For example, if I click into 9-story 4 subscribers, this is what I would see as an SPE staff person. To keep things simple, I'll delete a few of the redundant ones for you. Okay, so what I have left is the bulk of the emails that will be sent to true members. Each of these emails represents one of the paper airplanes I previously threw. We'll click on the first one, and this is our email for recent graduates unpaid. Next, we have a new professional member, but you'll notice that they are not a young professional because the beach story is missing. The next email is for our students, so 187 students will receive the notification about scholarships. And here we have our new members from a previous month who are young professionals. You'll see that there are 6 of them. And finally, we have paid members. This has 1,859 subscribers and is our biggest segment. The next we have unpaid members, and finally the young professional email to 389. So as you can see, the story level email is a powerful way to send out information to our members that is tailored specifically for them. My colleagues and I are very much looking forward to the emails that you'll be sending using the story level functionality. Thank you so much for watching the tutorial today. We hope that you learned a lot. If you have any specific questions, please use the contact information below to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again.